Alright guys, let's take a look at what's gone on in the Diecast toy shop these last few weeks. Toy shop, if you will. We'll call it that. Here's the Nick Gunther car. He ran at Daytona 2 years ago. I printed these decals out myself with my nice printer, but bad ink. I'm not going to swear in this video. I'm going to try not to swear. He ran this car in 2022. He was like one of 6 or 7 unicorn cars in that race. And he won Richmond. And Richmond was I sponsored that event. And part of the, I think it was a cash payout and a diecast car. I know, it's been 2 years. I was busy. I gave up. I had some bad months in between that time. But this thing is ready to go. The problem is he just hasn't provided an address yet. But otherwise, I think the unicorn car, it's just chilling here. And even, yeah, that spoiler came out really well. And I used to really struggle with them before I found out about the thick tip Sharpie paint marker. That thing is a lifesaver. And on this Matt DiBenedetto car came out very nicely. Anyway, there's that for Nick. Huang Do also has a car available and has not provided an address. In better news, slightly better, Jeremy Clement's car from Daytona is ready to go, almost. It's ready to be assembled, I think. I'm not 100% fond of this car because it had decals where in the back it was blue and the front it was black. And so the black's easy to do. You get the background color on there, no sweat. But then when it changes to this type of blue, which I don't really have a paint to really match it and to support it, where there's not coverage of the decal, you know, you kind of have to patch things together and find coverage that way. So I did the best that I could with covering the rear without overlapping any logos, and if the stupid thing would focus. But as you can see, there's still some areas down on the side that just aren't very good. I should have raised the decal at the side so that the post would connect. As you can see in the middle, there's that little slit, which I just can't stand. I hate it when that happens. I see a lot of other people doing it, and it's like, you know, I don't mean to rib anybody, but I just don't think it looks good. So I'm doing my best to try and avoid that. So this car, oh my goodness. On the surface, yeah, you might find this to be an interesting car. You know, it's a car long-owned vehicle, sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings, and they just announced that the RV sponsorship will be on the Cup car next week at Bristol, so congrats to them on that. This one is interesting for all the wrong reasons, actually, because if you take a look at this decal, and you ignore all my cutouts here, what's missing? What do you think is missing from this decal sheet? If you said roof number, you're the big winner today. So here, on this car, this will be the only one that I do for the following reason. I had to use a backup 2009 Dave Blaney Red Rocks Cafe car decal sheet that was incomplete. I had no plans of making another one. Thank God I kept it, because that Prism Motorsport 66 from 15 years ago is the exact same, almost the exact same 66 that Carl Long uses today. So that saved my life. Otherwise, I would not have had anything to put on that car. I would have had to order something else to try to make up for it, or try to print out my own decals, and I just wasn't interested in either of those. I would have had to spend another $15 to complete this one car, and it just would not have been worth it. So I went with that route. Of course, it's skewed, it's not perfect. It's supposed to be straight, like part of that Dave Blaney. This is the roof of that Dave Blaney car. But of course this is blue, and I just didn't feel good about putting this on there for a number of reasons. It's too big, it's not true to the real car, it's blue, even though a lighter blue would have maybe looked good on a darker blue. But I just said no, I just went with that, with the side decal from that 66 set. I couldn't cut out the black from the middle, but whatever. And then another issue with it was that this hood was way too long. So I decided to salvage the front and just push it back. And so there's a lot of slack on the other side of this. Another problem is that this was a water slide decal set from Pato, and I made the mistake of putting Tamiya X22 on way too early, so it's gummed up, it's bubbled up a bit. So I gotta work with that to push things and smooth them out a bit. I'm not going to apply any heat to it because it's just going to make it worse, as I've learned. But I colored in the pillars up top as well, because I absolutely hate trying to put decals on pillars, because one, they don't line up, two, they're way too damn big, and whatever other issues I can't think of at this time. But anyway, yeah, that 66, it needs a little extra work, but I think somebody's really going to enjoy adding that to their collection. Hey, camera, can we focus, please? Can we focus? Alright, thanks. Otherwise, I think that 66 is a really nice car. I think it came out really well, all things considered. Next up is New Zealand's Shane Van Gisbergen. He ran this car at Phoenix. Just an absolutely stunning paint scheme. We're back to the peel and sticks for the rest of this video here, of course. Of course, I went over this in a previous video, but I had to cut this bumper and separate the top and the bottom a bit. And we're back to not focusing. Just because the bumpers are too thin. Everything is just too thin. It's not sized well. And I wish I had... I did raise the side a little bit on this so that it looked a bit better, that everything... that this line, this graphic, this blue line here, this all aligned properly. But it didn't really matter with the posts on this car because that's black. You're not really going to notice if there's a slit or not because the background is black. But what a stunning vehicle. What a stunning design that is. I had to cut here as well because that would have been all the way down here, and then it wouldn't have been able to touch this graphic up here on the hood. But now that I think of it, I should have maybe cut this and lowered it. That's the thing. That's the thing with these Xfinity decals. You've got to cut and separate everything. You cannot cut corners, if you will. And then here on the front, things almost perfect. But then you can see a slit above where above where the Camaro logo is, and then there's a slit below the WeatherTech logo, but I think it still came out, I think overall it still came out fine, but just not super thrilled with it. Could have been a lot better. Here's Ryan Seek's Syap's car. This is another one where, actually no, this is a little different. I had to cut where the white was. I didn't want to interfere with the red stripes at all, and you can see it's not completely making contact with the body itself. It's kind of at an awkward angle where, you know, it's got to be pushed in constantly, and it's just not it's not wanting to adhere all the way. But I cut where the white is so that this thing would wrap, this whole black decal is one, and maybe I should have colored this in from maybe around where the grill down here is. But then I cut, you can hardly see it, but there's this outline on the Ford grill I cut maybe about right there, right above where my fingernail is, so that it wouldn't cut into the grill itself, but into the black area, the black background. And then when I wrapped it around, you know, the grill would be okay, and it would kind of overlap with that background as it wrapped around the nose, if that makes sense. But I think that really looks nice. And on second thought, I think that this is slightly over the grill, but whatever, you know, it's hardly noticeable. I try to aim for perfection with these cars, because if you don't, if you aim for it to be okay, then it's not going to come out well. If you aim for perfection, don't expect perfection, but try to aim for it at least when you make these cars. Take your time. Don't try to cut corners, as I said before. You'll feel really good about it later. Chances are the being thorough pays dividends later. You sit back and you look at the work that you did and you feel good about it. I feel good about this Ryan Sieg car. I colored all of this in, of course, and I put this red logo on after. And I'm so glad that I did that. The problem is, and this is kind of a big issue, but if you put something like a red or a white decal over a black background, you're going to see the black come through. It's going to bleed through. So on this 9 here, I had colored I stupidly colored all the way up to where that 9 is, and you could see that the black background in the 9, but not in the 3. So it looked really awkward. I had to go back. I just cheaped out and I put some acrylic white paint in there, and it looks fine now, but just keep that in mind. And then the star of the show last time was this Matt DiBenedetto number 38. And as simple and as out of style as it is, I know he's got the Rima car now. It's very vibrant, very stunning. And like, who cares about this car now? But I love it. I love this car, man. I don't know if it's that 38 that I used to use in sim racing, or the Ford body, or what, but it's just such a clean looking, it's just simple vehicle, and I really enjoy it. It's got a nice glistening to it now. And this, yeah, same thing with the Ryan Sieg grill. I made a little cut here and there, and this baby just wrapped right around just fine. Viking Motorsports. Anyway, guys, yeah, I will have more on the way. I'll probably have a Taylor Gray, Ryan Truex, and Blaine Perkins car up next. So I'll keep you posted on all that goes on in the custom diecast toy shop. All right, be well.